So this will be video 5. Hey, I'm staying alive. So today is cons and cosplay, an intro to, well, cosplay culture, but how to survive a convention. Well, what's a convention? It's a gathering place of like-minded topics that's usually a blend of three things: a mall, college survey-ish, if you will, panels like the survey classes and stuff, and festivities. So there are about three different types of conventions. There are for entertainment, like an anime convention as the main topic, business, which if you're in one of these tech fields or medical fields or whatnot, if your employer sends you to one of these places to gather info and create a presentation later to educate other people, then this won't be covered here, but that's usually when you get a company credit card. You get to charge your travels, your hotel, and your food expenses by following your HR procedures and saving all your receipts. But that's not what we're covering. And the adult, which are the naughty ones that I'm not going to cover because you can't videotape in it. One, you can't videotape in it. Two, not everyone can do it. When is the discotheque announcement stream? Well, because it looks like other people are doing projects for discotheque, the stream may or not be when Otakon happens, but that's when they're going to have their big event of announcing titles for the rest of the year. I'm saddened that they didn't do it for May, but so be it. It's their decision. They're volunteers, and they are going to do what they're wanting or going to volunteer to do, because those streams that they do to announce titles, well, those are employee volunteer streams or contractor volunteer streams. The main head honcho, I forgot his name, he doesn't touch social media, so it's usually the people who work on the stuff to restore, or the people that they allow to do. I'm pretty much trying to say Mike Tool. But yeah, I'm saddened that they didn't do a May stream, but it looks like there's enough, personal events in their lives to postpone it till Otakon, because even though you can prove the numbers of Otakon going down, usually it's like 30,000, I think, but take that with a grain of salt. They usually go to Otakon because it's tradition. But back to the main topic at hand. So for these conventions, you have the con topic itself, which you go to the website of the convention, find the name of the interest, find out what they have, what they generally spark up on panels, events, contests, whichever you like for your interest. And then unless you're local, explore the different hotel options that they have, because that is your bread and butter for, well, are you able to stay there or not? Some conventions are 24-hour, which is awesome. That's why I like AWA. Most conventions are not 24-hour. What does that mean? 24-hour conventions are the main convention space will have panels, video rooms, manga, libraries open 24 hours. Or there's one event or one room, theater, whatnot, have you, that's available day and night. There's most conventions are like, they stay open till 10 or 11, then the convention space forces them to close, which that's typical for a lot of them, but I'd rather have the 24-hour environment because it's ongoing, and if you miss something, you can catch something later. Also let me see my cheat sheet here. So what do we got? How much average would it cost to go to a convention? Well, that's just it. For the total expense of a convention, you treat this as a vacation. You spend as much as you're willing to spend. So typically for admission to something like this, it can range from, depending on how early you get, earlier the better. Typically for like AWA, the earlier you get it, it'll be like $35, $45 just for the base ticket, then $15 to ship it to you. The later you wait, the more expensive it gets. Some conventions, I believe, are like for the whole 4 days, might be looking about $150, $200, but usually they're a lot cheaper than that. But expect that to happen. The hotel rooms, depending on how long you stay, I prefer to stay the day before the convention starts, or at least day 0, and the day after the convention ends. That way you are not rushed to leave the convention space. That usually, I lucked up and got the 4-day stay at AWA, Anime Week in Atlanta. That's the one I like. And I got that for about $875. So roughly expect, just to stay and membership, expect $1,200. You don't have to spend that much. You can make it as long as you want. You don't even have to stay the whole time. But $1,200 is what I typically see going into it. But like I said, you make it however you want. You don't even have to stay the full time. What convention would you recommend? I'd recommend Anime Week in Atlanta. Because that's just been the one I've been comfortable with. I don't mind MomoCon, but the strange thing for MomoCon is when they leave the panels, they force you to leave. They force you to leave and clear out. Even the panel is 15 minutes before the next one, which is awkward because that means everywhere there's 15 minutes of nothing's happening. I've heard good things about Colossal Con, Sakura Con, which those are up north. Sakura Con's in Washington. Colossal Con, I think, is maybe Pennsylvania, somewhere up there. If you're a real party goer, MTAC's up to you. I live in the San Diego area. Well, I have been to AX back in 2018, and that was pretty fun to go to. Good luck with tickets and hotels. That one's a little different because I stayed for 2 weeks in LA, and it was about, I want to say $5,000 for the room, but keep in mind I stayed for like 2 weeks, and it's also LA. I think I could be wrong if it's still around. I heard decent things about San Jose Anime or something like that, but that's quite south of you. There's a third one, but I forgot what it's called, but those are the ones that I'm familiar with over in the California area. Just expect, for the California area, I would say save up around $2,000 for room and admission. It might not cost that much, but it's better to speculate more than less. That way, if you overpay, well, you didn't give them all your money and you still have a bit of money to spend. Following up with that before I tackle the hotel stuff, when you go to a convention and it's far away, look around, Google Map, and look around the area for food options, because when you're at a convention, you're going to be moving the majority of the time, unless you just want to sit down and relax a bit at the hotel room. Why I say that is, if you know where your fooding options are, when your fooding options are, you can better strategize with your schedule to find out where to go and how much to spend. Because sometimes, well, no, not sometimes, when you get food at the convention, unless it's like the common subway that's a part of the mall or somewhere near there, inside the convention, you are expected to pay convenience price like you would at let's say Disney World, Land, Six Flags, Dollywood, Point Mallard, any type of water park, because you're not there for utility means, you're there for convenience. Oh. Got distracted here. So be sure to browse the area for what food options there are. Usually Google Map, or if you have completely forgotten what you looked up or forgot to do that, you can always ask the hotel concierge area, and they should be able, or the staff, they should be able to help you out. When talking to a hotel or con staff, they're people like you and me. They're not special, they're not above or below anyone else. They're up doing their 5 to 9 shift. Sorry, their 9 to 5 shift. So just treat them like any other person. So with that being said, at the hotel, obviously when you check in, make sure that you have checked the room to make sure it's clean. You can find plenty of local news advice, if you will. If you get a hotel room, you have, my experience, unless it's a prepay offer like I did for, like the conventional offer, they would prefer you pay with credit card than a debit card. If you're not in position to get a credit card, I understand, but they're not the ones that will pay. You can't just go up and just pay cash and head out, because there's different stuff and taxes they have to calculate afterwards. Make sure you don't drink up all the itty bitty bottles of stuff that they want to charge depending on how it's set up. So if you have questions, ask them. Some of the questions to ask would be, does the room have a refrigerator? Does the room have a microwave, or is there a communal microwave that you can go and get, like right beside the vending machines or ice machines? Let's make sure this... Is room service available? Because an event happens, it might be much busier than usual, so they'll either have room service anyway because they'll smile and want that tip and are overstaffed, or they're understaffed, not expecting this, even though every reservation was made, and they might have like their own style of Lunchable, if you will. Let's see. So some people do like rice cookers or crock pots. If you do something like that, be sure to ask the hotel if you can do that, even though it is fresh out of the box and doesn't appear faulty to you. You have to kick logic aside, because this is one of those things that it's just like your mom and dad. It's their house, their rules. They don't care about logic. They care about their convenience and what they're worried about. Even though you can prove it, they have to answer to higher people, and what they say goes. So even though that is a nice idea of, I'm going to crock pot some beans or make some rice for every meal, some hotels might not like for you to do that for either insurance reasons, loss of a sale of potential meals, etc., etc. Now, the recommended grocery list I'd recommend would be pudding cups, beef jerkies or beef sticks, applesauce, variety chips. If you have microwave options, those awesome cup either ramen noodles, because you expect me to say that, even I would expect someone to say that, or those macaroni bowls, or those rice-a-roni cups. Don't underestimate those. There's even the Uncle Ben packets that are really awesome. Crackers, Cheez-Its, you know the drill. Snackage like you would after school. Obviously, I would recommend canned Cokes, maybe some Capris, obviously water. If you choose to go with a backpack in the convention, pack some water anyway. Maybe for you, maybe for someone else. But keep yourself hydrated. During a convention, I'll go ahead and knock this out now. During a convention, you'll hear people say, please take a shower, please put on a stick of deodorant. I agree to that. That you go there, you have a hotel room, use it, bathe, put the smelly freshness on, move forward. But one of the things I don't get is they'll also say be sure to put on a second coat of deodorant maybe midday, or with it to follow, don't just put deodorant on, take a shower. So really what they're trying to say is please take a second shower, but you can't say that because there's some skin and ethnicities, if you will, that will maybe cause a rash up, maybe get their skin ashy, maybe upset their hair, maybe have to take forever to put their hair back up. So there are people who think Kung Funk is worse than COVID. Ooh, I said something spicy there. But what's funny to me is you have people who warn this the loudest and they're guilty of not following through with it. So it's like a double standard for no reason. But take time when you schedule, take time to relax. If you feel too hot, you don't have to be everywhere. Convention's there just so you can have fun. Learn something new and go about your way. Let's see what I got here. Let's see. Assistance. Parking's something else. So with parking, hey. So, whoop. See you later. Can't film that, but I petted a dog with a toddler being excited to be outside. As you can also hear. Parking's not free everywhere. Parking you have to pay per day. That's also an added expense, normally to the hotel, but as long as it's not my experience, Nashville on Memorial Day weekend, $50 to $75 per day. Hotels are usually cheaper than that, especially with conventions. You'll either face free or up to maybe, worst I've ever seen, it's like $35 a day, but those are usually particular places. What you expect, what common price I usually see to pay per day is like 15 maybe. I know that's ridiculous, but they have to have spots for their customers. Try not to park where they warn that you'll get your car towed, because what usually happens is they give you a warning ticket, then after that they try to tow your car. Some people will try to do this. I wouldn't recommend it, but there are some people who will try to stay in their car throughout the whole event. Like go there, sleep, regenerate, move back in there. I wouldn't recommend that because you never know who is noisy. Around the 2 to 3 a.m. time frame for this region, that's when the dew hits and set, and that's usually the coldest point of the night. And cars are not protected by that, so it kind of sucks when that happens. But also another reason for not staying in your car overnight is you might see illegal activity and you are now a witness. I've heard one rumor of some person moving to Florida staying in their car while doing a maintenance sort of job, maintenance or construction. He stayed in his car and two people got in an argument and the other person killed him, right? Killed him and splatted right in front of his car. So there's a lot of, had to be a witness and stay longer in Florida for no reason. So my advice is if you're trying to figure out if you can go to a convention, imagine if you're going to a place to gamble. If you can't go to a place to gamble, don't go. Main reason is you don't have money to cover what future expenses you have after you go to this vacation. That might be extreme, but that's a rationale I hear other people say. What do we got here? Con hotels versus other hotels. If you stay at a con hotel, you do not have to drive. You do not have to ask for valet up to a certain point. Valet is the hotel will drive, depending on the radius of where you are, for free. It's like group travel transportation for you and other hotel guests. Obviously, you can go and get a, what do you call it? Not DoorDash. I forgot what it's called, but anyway. The app that you can call a personal driver to pick you up and take you back to your place. So you also have that option if they're around. But if you stay at a con hotel, expect it to be noisier than usual because you're at the place of activity. No one wants to go to sleep. If you go outside the con hotel, you still have people who will party and get noise violations, but you won't have to hear the constant scream, clatter, music of the convention because you're there at a private place. Yeah, another one of these cards here. All right. So a convention normally has the con flow of things. Obviously, you have, well, for a three-day convention, a typical 3-day convention, you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days. Some conventions, if they're big enough, will have a day 0, a Thursday, if you will. Thursday whole day or Thursday evening, where people who have pre-regged online or want to register to get a certain, or to get admission to the convention, they can go on day 0 to pick it up. Some places have, some places like AX or AWA have programming on that day. Others just have badge pickup and that's it, or smaller ones will have no idea what you're talking about because day 0 is a foreign idea to them. So usually, I want to say at least 3 years, there might be, if a convention lasts for like 3 years, you might see a day 0 happen. But usually that's normal for bigger conventions and not for smaller conventions. That's just how it is. Now there's a con flow, if you will. You have day 0, you have the beginning day. There's some places or spots within the convention that will open, but normally those are like the low traffic areas, like a watch room or something. But usually every convention will have a opening ceremonies where they announce what events are, highlights. Some like Comic-Con in Birmingham have like this, well, AWA has it too, a convention storyline, because everything's supposed to be based on a theme, even though no panels, maybe some particular panels are, but most of them are not. Where it might be a sports theme, a Dragon Ball theme, a Magical Girl or Sailor Moon theme, something like that, where they have their loosely plotted characters do something and cause the convention to happen for some reason. I never got that. Then you have the opening of the vendor's room, obviously the game room, both digital and analog. Analog meaning like trading card games or board games. And then you have prep areas, or if they're hospitable enough, cosplay repair areas where the individuals can register for the cosplay contest, or if they just want to show up, show about, and show off their cosplay, they can. But they have an area, if something gets unstitched, hot glued or whatnot, they can go there and get a quick stitch or help with repair and move forward. Obviously you have a first aid area, general information areas and all that. Sadly, for a lot of conventions, they used to have paper maps and schedules, but everything wants to swap to digital because you don't have to pay the cost of paper, But on the flip side, for a general convention area, they don't want good Wi-Fi or internet access, because that's money that the convention center is losing themselves. So got a catch-22. The convention can only do so much, so what they will say is complain to the local phone tower for the county to improve, because that's all that they can do for that. You could talk to the convention itself to get internet or Wi-Fi. However, I advise not to do that. You know, I gave you the idea. Wouldn't advise that, because now you're interfering with the convention itself, and you have to hear a whole lot of bickering backlash about that. So that is an idea, but I wouldn't say it's a suitable option. Vendor's room. Oh yes. Someday Zero, like when I go to AWA, or if you haven't seen my AWA videos, check them out. There is a quote-unquote super happy fun sale. The name is based off of a skit from Saturday Night Live, but what this is a sort of flea market or trade show. Not trade show, swap meet, there you go. Where local people or people far and wide can come in and try to sell their items before the vendors hall happens. Yes, there are some instances where some of the vendors people will enter and sell, and I'm fine with that, because you don't know what the main prices are, and they might have overstock to quickly sell out before, well, they have overstock to try to sell out because they know that they are stuck with it. I usually like these, and I've found some amazing things over there. Once again, if you haven't seen it, check out the AWA videos I've made. Let's see, there's that. Then following up to the Sunday. Sunday's usually where Fridays and Saturdays are speculated to be the big busy days, depending on what else is going on within the convention center and area. Because you don't know if you're at this place and there's a Major League Baseball game going on, or some football, or some who knows what. There's some concert that's happening. If you're at a convention center in a big town, there's going to be more than one thing happening on the weekend, which is awesome, but sometimes you have that, sometimes you don't. Ooh. Yeah, check out all the flowers. Ah. There's the panels. So panels themselves, panels can range from a multitude of things. Usually it's to show off entertainment, or it's to show off education to further in a topic. Like you can have cosplay workshops, you can have LARPing workshops. Notice it's making dresses and costumes I've listed so far. You can have D&D workshops. You can have all sorts of things, arts, crafts, or novelizations, if you will, of workshops. Generally, a panel that you'll see is like history of magical girls, history of fighting films, Asian live action, specific topics. Usually what you would also see is like the most popular anime at the moment, like Jutsu Kaisen or martials. You know, what's popular right now, you'll see fan panels of that specific topic because it's popular, but also people will see it because they want to see what else is new, or they've heard of it and want to get more information, or hey, I'll join this panel. Might be other people sitting by me to talk more about the topic. You have those. You have some panels that just focus on nostalgic music and just pretty much play a playlist of music, which might sound lame to some, but for those who are going out and about to panel per panel per panel, per food, per vendor's room, per XYZ, it's nice to join like a low crowded room or high crowded room where you can just sit, relax, and just enjoy what in the world the person's presenting. So AWA and much bigger conventions will have concert halls where they have foreign bands or local bands coming and jamming out, which if you're in the way front row, you can wave your glow sticks and all other stuff. But if you're just to show and present, hey, this is a busy place, but really if you go a few rows back, you're just sitting there and just enjoying yourself. There's nothing wrong with either case. Just don't film. People are going to film anyway, you can't help that. But try not to do that. There are people who are trying to make, the bands are there to try to make a buck. The convention's there ensuring that they can have the privacy to do that. So show some respect. Respect when you can, or if you can. Hopefully you can. Let's see, just like Blue's Clues, got to get out the handy dandy reminder card. So there's other things, other special events that can happen at a convention. You have, like I mentioned before, you have the cosplay contests, the concerts. Some concerts you have to get tickets ahead of time. Usually if you're on the fan page, you can get more information than what the convention center can get you. Well, there's also other private events like aside from the rave, which that's usually open to people if you can get there in time. There is the ball. Ooh, you have to dress. If you get tickets to the ball, they will tell you how to dress, when to come in. You have to purchase your tickets in advance. Some people usually go as couples, other people will just show up by themselves to get introduced to other people. And then the one that I'm annoyed with, which is people who go to a convention and use it for a invite-only wedding. That is, if there's nothing in the program to fill, fine. But I feel like a wedding is a place that you go to and it's of family and friends. If you go too public with it, you might have wedding crashers, which you can police it so no one can know of it. Like instead of saying, here's the wedding, you can say private event, well, invitation only, stuff like that. Obviously word will spread word of mouth that it's a wedding, but if you're too in your face about something like that, expect problems. If you treat it, I believe if you treat it with subtlety, you'll be fine. All right, I believe that's all my convention speak. Because like I said, a convention's pretty much a weekend timed event of a mall with some college survey courses, if you will, with festivities. Now, quickly go over the cosplays. If you find someone cosplaying, ask to take a photo. If they say no, don't worry about the rejection, because there's plenty of people in cosplay attire that will be glad to take a picture. No means go, you know. Treat people how you want to be treated. I would say treat a convention like if you were going to the mall. Don't do things that get you kicked out of the mall, you know. Just because you're having a good time doesn't mean that you can be touchy-feely. What do I mean by that? Just because the conversation's going well, you're having fun, everything's positive, doesn't mean you get an automatic hug. You have to ask for that. We live in a world where you just can't just hug people unless you're like, I would say 10, but I think if you're 8 years old and you hug someone, that's okay. But when you get to a certain age, you kind of have to ask or feel the situation if you're allowed, because that's just how it is in society. What do we got? Hi, and real mum GA 123. Why, hello. Thank you for joining the show. Have a question? Ask away. What is your question? I'm looking down because that's what the chat is. What is your question? Yeah, I'm back at the episode 1 area. Well, as you type your question, what are the things? So, one of the things about cosplay that I miss is, used to it would be about the show. You have a question, okay. Saw your question mark. Ask away, ask a question. Used to cosplay would be about the shows. Now it's more about, can I costume and can I show my skill? I kind of blame the Sci-Fi Channel's Heroes of Cosplay about that, cause it takes the costume play out away from the show for this anime culture and makes it be more about, can I outsuit another person, or can I wow and glamour my textile designs? Textile mean dress designs. Okay. I still don't see your question, so please ask it when you can. Or I'm still waiting, and I'm still patient about it. Oh. So used to, conventions would have cosplay talent shows and skits. Well, with these cosplay talent shows and skits, it got a little cringy, less really to say, because people who would attend would be less talented than a vaudeville event. Vaudeville would be like kind of like a Three Stooges act, if you will, before they got up and, well, before TV or movies, people would perform vaudeville acts, which would be like what you see in Looney Tunes or Three Stooges. People would get up there, show off their local talents, and people would be amazed because the local stars are here to entertain. And a lot of these talent shows and skits were very cringy. I do miss the skits because they try to relate it to the show that they were doing. A modern version of this would be Ask a Character, which could be cringy themselves. But I'd rather them perform skits because it's not fans of the show dressing up as the characters and just prolonging time and because they have the showroom floor. For those who are kind of curious about the cosplay sort of community, like how it's set up or what process is to go through. Now, I'm not sure about local chapters or LARPing, if you will, but I would recommend the shows Cosplay Complex and Comic Party, because it covers, I have not seen Genki Shin, but I'll mention them. But it covers stuff like, ooh, I like this show, I'm going to sit down and design the character's clothing, and goes through the process, and even some of the different types of people that you'll encounter along the way. The funny thing about Cosplay Complex is who licensed it was ADV Films. It was based in Texas, and one of the characters was a clear, obvious nod to shock treatment, but they didn't recommend it, or not recommend it. They didn't point out the pop culture reference, even though the story is supposed to be based in Denton, Texas. What do we got here? Well, I wish I had that question. Oh well. You can, when I get done with this, you can post the question in the comments and I'll address it there. Hopefully it's not some troll bigotry, but I have more faith with y'all. Well, for now, that's all I have for cosplay or cons and cosplay. Pretty much find an event that you like, save up the money, get a hotel reservation, make sure you get admission to the event. Probably have that be arranged first. And I would recommend, if they have a mail-in option, to go for it. If not, pre-reg. Depending on the situation, it might be pre-reg is too busy than registrate, so you might be able to just go through and register yourself again. Maybe pay the admission again, but that's up to you. Depends on your time and how much money you have. Schedule when you get your admission, your badge, when they post up the panels and events and stuff, check out and see the time. Schedule your vacation how you want it. Make sure you know the fooding, make sure you have backup food at the hotel. Because if you don't eat it at the hotel, you can also just take it home. I forgot to mention granola, but I think that might be a little common sense. Make sure to ask the hotel if you can bring in a rice cooker or crock pot to cook with, where the community, or if your room has a microwave or refrigerator, how much the parking is. Generally for rooms, they would like for you to pay with credit card if you can. Yeah, how much you want to spend is up to you. I would assume to have $2,000 to cover, to make sure that you cover the hotel room, but generally it's a lot cheaper than that, especially for like 3 nights. Check the weather, make sure you got the correct clothing. If you're lost or confused or not sure of behavior, always go to a con personnel and they can point you to the right person to make sure that that situation is addressed. Don't be a creep. Typically what you can do at the mall is what you can do at a convention, but don't feel like this place is here to babysit you or your kids. You know, use common sense. Don't be a creep. No means go, because there's a lot more to the show regarding cosplayers. Yeah, that's about it. Oh yeah, for bigger conventions, they might have previews of new anime where they actually bring the creator of the show or the animation studio who produces it will come in and show you a sneak peek, or you get to talk to the creator themselves, which is awesome. I was able to meet the creator of Soccer Wars at AWA. Even got a picture of him. You can see at the end of Soccer Wars, me and the individual. I wish I would disobey and took a picture anyway of the creator of Strike Witches, and because he showed the first episode of the OAV where General MacArthur showed up, and he even gave comments and feedback, and everyone questioning him why it's not licensed over here, and even the creator didn't know. His art director was there and he was angry at him because he never got a chance to show it, because even though they worked on it, they did not have a copy of it. And the director was like, well damn, I need to do something about that. I don't know if they ever got anything or not, but that's just more interesting tidbits. Do you need to go to a convention to complete your collection? Depends on how you collect. Sometimes you can find rare finds, other times you just find stuff as cheap as when it's pre-orderable. Other times you get vendors who will stock it and overcharge the price, or have no social skills themselves, or, well, used to, you can bargain to get a good deal. That would be around Sunday. This was the time frame of I want to say 80s to mid 2000s. You can do that because the vendor comes in and sells the items. It has to stock, decorate, all that good stuff, but that's a lot of stuff to carry back. So used to, you can bargain on Sundays for a cheaper price. That's not like that anymore because what stock they have, they can sell at another show. Just fact of life, and that's what they presume. Anime Depot, I'm not saying anything bad about them, but for Anime Depot, if you go to them and bargain, they'll just ignore you and wait till after they attend to 10 customers to talk to you again. I find that rude because you can quickly say yes or no and move on, but they feel like that you're wasting their time. That's how they're going to treat you. I don't like that, so if you don't mind it or if you don't like it, don't go to them, but you might miss something that you're looking for. Like I said, typically, unless you go to like the swap meet or flea market portion of these conventions, you're usually not going to find something cheap unless it's like a one-off movie that's old or something. Typically, it'll be pre-order price or higher. Did I ever get that question? Well, I didn't get that question. I know that I haven't talked about artist alleys. Just know for artist alleys, you are literally talking to con artists. Ooh, that pretty much they are people trying to be people, but there are people that are people dealing with that culture. If you talk to a few of them, you'll kind of get what I mean. Just be kind, mention positive things. You might strike a deal, or you might strike a commission that you've been wanting for a long time with their art style. Just kind of feel the grounds, if you will, and well, go from there. Okay, I'm going to end the stream now. For your question, please post it in the comments. I'm going to have this, as soon as I end this video, I'm going to have it be public as soon as possible, and I will address your question. If you like these, please leave a like, share with your friends. Right now I am combating grad school, and because of that, I am kind of stuck working on graduate project or grad schooling, even though I'm out walking. These don't require any editing, but you can also see what editing I need to do. I'm also trying to practice my public speaking, if you will. So with that, I'll say adios, and also check out the playlist if you like these. If not, check out the rest of the channel. Leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell if you want to. And with that, laters.